Your brand new iPhone deserves the best protection, and the iLume 3-Pack Screen Protector Plus 3-Pack Camera Lens Protector has you covered. Don't take risks with your iPhone. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
I'd love to urinate over Thug, who wheezes in pub sinks, but I'm too busy trying to save my boozer from Gov's tax hammering. There's a man on social media whom I hate. If he feels he's been overcharged for a pint at a pub, he goes into the lavatory and films himself urinating all over the floor and in the sink. He probably thinks he's a class warrior, fighting the good fight on behalf of the little man. But he is. He's just being annoying, and if I find out who he is, I shall go round to his house and urinate on him. The pub trade has been on its knees for years. There are now 2,000 fewer than there were 25 years ago, and in this year alone, we've lost 54 a month. I'm beginning to understand why, because I now have a pub. It's permanently packed. We are serving 500 or 600 people a day with lunch and dinner. And on a sunny day, there are hundreds more in the garden, having a pint and a burger. But despite this, I am losing money. Lumps of it. And now, thanks to the strange and terrible government that some of you elected, things are about to get worse. Because on top of the stratospheric costs of energy, we now have stupid eco-taxes on the beer we sell. The brewery, which is mine as well, must now pay 7p to recycle every bottle it sells. That's a tax of 84p for every case of 12 bottles, which is paid to the council to do what it's supposed to be doing anyway. But doesn't. You only have to look at the litter in any hedgerow to see that. Then you've got the rise in the minimum wage, a rise in business rates, and worst of all, a rise in national insurance. Which means publicans are basically being fined for taking someone off the dole and giving them a job. One landlady in Suffolk explained this week that the business rate rise alone will take her annual bill from £33,000 a year to £80,000. Meanwhile, the changes to the minimum wage and national insurance will see the wage bill at my pub rise by £4,800 a month. The awful Rachel Reeves is hitting farmers and business people over the head with a hammer. But she's using a machine gun on publicans. The only solution is to increase prices, which is why the average price of a pint across the country is now perilously close to £5. Back in August, I offered a Sunday carvery for £20, but that's simply not doable anymore. Because not one single person in the government has ever set up or run a business, we had to take that up to £24. And soon, it will have to go up again. And when that happens, we will doubtless get a visit from our TikTok friend who will signal his displeasure by urinating all over the floor. If you are as old as me, you will have been saddened this week to hear that the soundtrack of our childhood, Blue Peter, is being condemned to the internet and will no longer be broadcast live on television. Many successful shows leave us with one or maybe two truly memorable moments, but over the last 67 years, Blue Peter was a fountain of golden moments. And showers. Who can forget the urinating elephant? Then there was the irrepressible John Noakes, who constantly amazed us with his helmetless stunts. He climbed Nelson's column, set a record for the longest ever freefall parachute jump, and in an act of madness, strapped a camera to his head and did the fearsome Cresta run in Switzerland. But for me, the most memorable moment came in 1983, when some youths broke into the grounds of Television Center and vandalized the Blue Peter Garden. Lovingly created over many years, this was a much-cherished national institution, and the presenters were crestfallen as they reported on the fairy liquid in the fish pond, and the broken urn and all the upended carrots. It wasn't funny. Of course it was. Vandalism never is, and yet it was. The third season of Gangs of London is out now on Sky Atlantic, or Sky Atlantic sponsored by Wolvo, as I call it. In essence, you've got a lot of Pakistanis, Albanians, West Indians and Irish people shooting one another in deserted office blocks and having fistfights in boarded-up shops. You never see the police, the mayor is a corrupt cokehead, and ordinary people only ever appear so they can be caught in the crossfire. Some are saying that as dramas go, it's all a bit unpleasant. But they're missing the point, it's not a drama. London, drugs gangs, knife crime, no police, no functioning businesses, sounds like a documentary to me. It's important to everyone in Formula One that Ferrari does well because all the other teams are businesses, and Ferrari is more than that. It's the heart and it's the soul. It was crucial then that the team's new boy, Lewis Hamilton, came out of the traps like he'd been fired from a gun. And how good would that be if it happened in China, in front of a crowd that thinks he's a god? And blow me down, it did. For the sprint race in Shanghai last weekend, the elder statesman took pole position and then cruised away from the pack to win the race as well. What's interesting and troubling is that a few hours later, having created headlines around the world, Lewis could only qualify for the main event in fifth. And in the race itself, he was so slow he let his teammate overtake. And then he was disqualified. How is that possible? I can understand that a car might be quick at one track and the following weekend, at a different track, be useless. But to go from hero to zero at the same track, on the same day, it makes no sense. Gym and yoga enthusiasts are forever explaining that by keeping fit, they will have longer lives. But new research has suggested that they won't. It'll just feel that way. Boffins have worked out that when you are exercising and concentrating on the pain and strains this causes, you focus less on your internal clock, so time does apparently slow down. That's why an hour on a running machine feels like 200 years. I wonder if this works the other way round. So when you're in the pub with your mates, having a few pints and a laugh, time speeds up. Certainly that would explain the expression, time flies when you're having fun. In which case, drink does not shorten your life, it just feels that way.